What's up guys, Stark here. In today's character spotlight, we're taking a look at the final servant currently available on Global, and that's going to be Leonidas. So, I'm going to throw his pictures on the screen right now for you guys to see. I do apologize for posting it a little bit later than I originally said, but there was a maintenance that I totally forgot about, so that kind of delayed the video by a little bit. Anyway, so his pictures are on the screen. He has some alright artwork. I do personally prefer his second artwork to his third and fourth artwork, but overall he does have some really nice artwork, so I really can't complain too much about any of that. And so he is going to be a Lancer, so he will be effective against archers, but he will be weak to sabers. And he is a 2-star servant as well, so he will go up to level 65, and he will have 6,583 attack, and he will have 7,959 HP. And then if you do decide to grail him out and max him out, he will end up with 11,539 attack and 13,486 HP. So it's pretty solid stats. He does have some pretty high HP stats, but it's not like super high. So, you know, based on his skills and things like that, I know he's a 2-star servant, but ideally you would like him to have a little bit more HP just because of the way he works. And we'll talk about that very, very shortly, but I do think that is one of the, I guess you can call it a down point, but his HP stats aren't that bad if you do decide to max him out. But as I was saying, he does rely a lot on his HP, just in the fact that his skills kind of make it so that the enemy's attacking him as opposed to your other allies, and you want as much HP as possible for something like that. So let's go ahead and take a look at his servant skills. The first one is going to be called Rearguard's Pride A, which will apply target focus for 1 turn, and then it will greatly increase his Noble Phantasm gain for 3 turns. So this is kind of what I was talking about here, where he applies target focus to himself, so that means the enemies will be more likely to attack him, and obviously if you do that, you don't want your character to just instantly die in 1 turn. Although there are uses for it, just to make, you know, your other characters survive that 1 turn so they can get the Noble Phantasm off or something like that. But ideally you want to have a really tanky character use target focus so they can tank the hits and then still survive to continue the fight. But yeah, overall it's a really good skill. You know, at level 10 it's 500% for target focus and then 100% for the Noble Phantasm gain, and then that lasts for 3 turns, which is pretty nice. It's definitely really good if you do decide to grail him out and give him like the 13,000 HP. If not, he's probably not going to be too tanky just because he's a 2-star, doesn't have that much HP at base. But overall, it's not a bad skill. You know, it could definitely be useful in a lot of situations. Moving on here to his second skill is going to be Battle Continuation A, which will apply Guts 1 time over the course of 5 turns. And that will revive him with 1,000 HP at level 1 and 2,500 HP at level 10. So this does kind of combat the fact that he's a 2-star servant with not a lot of HP. Just because you could use this and then use his first skill, and then even if he does die, he'll come back and still have a little bit of fight left in him. So it does combo off pretty well, but again, him being a 2-star servant with not a lot of base HP does make it very tricky to actually use him as a tank, but you can definitely use him as like a 1-turn safeguard if you need to have like an ally really make it 1 more turn so they can use like a powerful Noble Phantasm or something like that. And then his third and final skill is going to be called Warrior's War B, which will increase Buster Card effectiveness of all allies for 3 turns, and then this is a strengthening power-up quest skill, so we will have to wait to get this, but once we do get it, it'll be a 15% increase at level 1, and then a 25% increase at level 10, and this is for all allies and for 3 turns as well. So this is a really nice skill, and he does have a really solid set of skills overall. Moving on here to his class skill, he's going to have the Magic Resistant C skill, which will increase his debuff resistance by 15%. It's nothing too crazy, but it is a pretty nice passive to have, so he can, you know, ignore some of those debuffs, potentially like damage debuffs that will make it a little bit harder for him to kill. Moving on here to his Ascension Materials, he does need, I guess, a moderate amount of stuff. Like, he needs the Talons for his second Ascension, which is kind of weird because then his third and fourth, you're actually going down a step as far as tiers go, and then you need the crystals and bones as opposed to like a golden item. So that's kind of weird, but, you know, you gotta mix it up every now and then. He doesn't need a whole lot as far as the numbers go though, so shouldn't be that hard to level him up if you decide to do that. And then moving on here to his skill enhancements, he does need more of the talons, and then instead of crystals he needs the serpent jewels, and then he does need the bones as well. So I don't know if I'd really recommend leveling up his skills right away, but when you do decide to go ahead and max him out, this is what you need. So we're just going to go ahead and move on here to his command cards and his Noble Phantasm. So we just have 2 quick cards, 1 arts card, and 2 buster cards. So you do primarily want to use him on a quick team or in a buster team. And his Noble Phantasm is going to be buster as well, and this will increase the user's defense for 3 turns, and then it will taunt all enemies to attack the user for 3 turns. So this is basically like target focus. And then he will gain critical stars. So it's a pretty good Noble Phantasm. It doesn't do any actual damage, which kind of sucks. But this does, again, play into the fact that you're kind of using this guy as a tank, which is kind of not that good because he doesn't have that much HP. But his Noble Phantasm is really nice for this. At level 5 is a 50% increase on his defense, and you can combo that with other characters that increase defense as well. And that's where you can make up for his lack of HP with really high defense increases. And then that kind of balances out, because if he's not taking that much damage, it really doesn't matter how much HP he has, and he can serve his purpose as a tank. So that's really nice. You know, you can use like a Waver or Mash from the start, like a starter servant, to boost his defense to make him that much harder to kill. And you know, it kind of works. So it's a pretty good, you know, Noble Phantasm overall. And then the taunt for 3 turns as well is really nice. You could use that on like a boss stage or just a normal wave that you just need to kill if there's like a bad matchup against one of your back servants or something like that. You could definitely find a lot of uses for this Noble Phantasm. And then he does gain a few critical stars as well. 5 at level 1 and then 25 at level 5, which is really nice, especially if you're using him on the quick setup. So now we're going to go ahead and talk about his unique craft essence and then some of the craft essences you could potentially use on this character. So first up is going to be, like I said, his unique craft essence. So at level 10 Bond, he's going to unlock the Hot Gate craft essence, which will increase buster card effectiveness of all allies by 15% while on the field. So this is your generic buster card craft essence. Not much else to say here. We're just going to move on to talk about the other craft essences you could potentially use on this character. So first up is Kaleidoscope. You probably don't really need to use this because his first skill increases his Noble Phantasm gain really high. So you don't necessarily need Kaleidoscope to start him off with a high Noble Phantasm gauge. You're probably going to accumulate it really quickly. Although he does only have 1 arts card, which kind of sucks. But you could definitely balance that out with other skills and things like that. And he is basically a tank, so he's going to be taking a lot of hits, which means his Noble Phantasm gauge is going to increase rapidly just from taking the hits. So you really don't need Kaleidoscope that much, in my opinion. So what you can do is you can use craft essences to boost the attack. So you could use the Verdant Sound of Destruction for the 15% increase, or Limit 0 Over for the 25% increase for buster cards. Or if you are using him in a quick setup, you could use Grander for the 15% increase, or Imaginary Round for the 25% increase. Another really good craft essence you could potentially consider using is the Iron-Willed Training, which will increase his defense by 15% or 20% at max Ascension, or Limit Breaker, whatever it's actually called. But that's really good. You can combo in with other skills like his Noble Phantasm to just keep his defense as high as possible at all times. So he takes that much less damage from overall attacks, making him, again, harder to kill and serve his purpose as a tank. But it's basically all, you know, just depending on what team you use and, you know, what setup you're going with. It's a lot of craft essences you could actually use for this character. It just depends on what team you actually stick him on. So that's pretty much going to wrap up this video here. I will leave you guys with his Noble Phantasm. And like I said, this isn't the end of the video series. I'll probably take a couple days off to record some things, get things the way I like them, and then I'll start making the videos again. I don't really want to fall behind again, so I'm probably going to just record a whole bunch during one day and then just pre-upload them and at a scheduled time. So there's always something out. So even if I get busy, I'll still have a video posted every day. Because I did fall off at the tail end of the series. I guess 60 days of making videos in a row was just a little bit too much for me when I had to record them day by day. So I'm going to try and mix it up a little bit. I still want to get you guys as much Fate content as possible. So hopefully it all works out the way I envisioned it. I hope you guys enjoyed this series. Hope you guys enjoy all the future videos I post to this channel. And I will see you guys next time.